This new moon in Sagittarius on December 12th is the last one that we will have of 2023. And despite the transits not maybe seeming overall like the cleanest in the world, I do think that the transits with this particular new moon serve a purpose that is apropos for the end of the year before we collectively turn that page in the Gregorian calendar and move into the next calendar year. And I'll tell you why. A few hours after the peak of the new moon, which by the way is at 3:32 p.m. Pacific time, so just adjust for your time zone, we have Mercury going retrograde. And before you do the eye roll, I'm not one of those alarmists that is like the sky is falling when Mercury goes retrograde. It happens 3 to 4 times a year. It's just a part of our yearly rhythm, you could say. Mercury retrograde serves a purpose, albeit annoying at times, or sometimes more disruptive than that, depending on your chart, right? Mercury slows things down so that we can revisit things, so that we can review them, revise them. And if we're always going at full speed, we don't always have the opportunity, or we don't give ourselves necessarily the opportunities to slow down and read the fine print and parse out the facts and to be able to see different sides of a situation in order for us to avoid missteps in the future to the best of our ability in order to move forward cleanly. We have an opportunity to do that here. And so I feel like this is just so appropriate for the end of the year, because this is, whether you believe in the Gregorian calendar being like the beginning of the year for you or not, myself and a few other people relate to the beginning of the year being, it feels more like it's appropriate for like the winter solstice or the spring equinox versus like this calendar part of the year, right? In the middle of winter, for those of us in the northern hemisphere at least. So, you know, regardless of whether you believe whichever way is your new year, it is a collective thing that happens. We are marking the end of a year, an entire time that is of a certain number, and we collectively turn the page to the next year. And our businesses and a lot of things are set up in these, you know, yearly processes, and there are quarters of each year. And so it fits very nicely into the way our modern life works and how the machine wheels turn, right? So there is this process where a lot of us start to look around in December and kind of go, wow, what was this? Like, what did I do this year? What was this year about? What did I set out to do? What was I hoping for? Where was I hoping to be? And how did my year actually unfold? And what detours did I take along the way? What things did I decide to completely shift? Who am I now versus who was I at the beginning of this 2023 year? And how have the experiences that I've had shifted perhaps how I view the world, how I view myself, how I view others, where I want to go next, what do I feel inspired to do? And so whatever way people do their reflection, everyone has their own process for how they do that. This is that time where people are tending to do that. They're setting resolutions. I don't do resolutions. I do something else. But, you know, people are trying to get clarity, make plans for the first like quarter or 2 quarters of the year. So just there's a lot of that type of reflection going on. And with the Mercury coming in retrograde just a few hours after the beginning of the new moon, and the new moon being that time where people want to plant seeds for the future, and people want to typically, you know, manifest or, you know, whatever they want to build momentum towards. This is a time where I could see Mercury retrograde being kind of like a fit for that type of quality, right? So we can take stock and revisit what we're planning for 2024 instead of just kind of going through the motions and deciding to continue on a path regardless of, you know, whether we actually still resonate with it or not. So we have a chance to really look things over. And that's why I think that it's a fit. Not that I'm the biggest fan of all Mercury retrogrades, but I can see like usually when I make these videos or when I'm looking at things for myself with astrology, I'm looking at, well, how can I work with this particular setup? How can I work with the astrology as it is? So, when we're working with new moon energies, we're working with waxing and building energy, right? And so, one might wonder if I'm being slowed down, how am I building momentum? And I think that's my point, is that we are able to work on what will give us the best and clearest path of momentum going forward if we take some time to work with the energy and to do some reflection. I still think you can do a lot of planning during this period of time. I'm still working on like how I'm planning my first quarter or second quarter of the year. I've already been doing some of that, and that is planning for the future. That is setting your intentions, planting your seeds, whatever you want to call it, by taking the time to review and look at the details and the fine print of your planning. So the other thing I will say is that this new moon is in about approximate 4-degree square to Neptune. So squares are not the easiest of all aspects. I think that perhaps at the very beginning, maybe if you're finding that getting the clarity that you need feels like a little muddled, or it feels a little unclear, hard to make tangible, put your finger quite on it, I think that that's probably just going to be a part of this process, a part of the processing, a part of the figuring this out and maybe feeling into it. It might take a little extra effort, I think, to work with that type of energy, but I don't think it's impossible. So that's what we've got for this new moon, and the new moon tarot videos are out. So the bi-weeklies that are from new moon to full moon are out already on YouTube, so you can go check there so that you can look for your either sun or rising sign, and you'll find that there. Also, if you're interested in booking the year ahead astrology readings or the year ahead tarot readings, you can find that information by going to my link tree. And I believe if you're watching this on TikTok, you'll need to go from here to my Instagram bio, and then from there be able to find the link to go book those. So I have all of the links there. If you have any trouble, feel free to DM me and let me know. I am going to be running a winter solstice special because I love winter solstice, so I will be running a winter solstice special, and gift certificates for anyone who just feels like they want to give those away. I will have those as well. So you'll have more information about that coming up pretty soon, but that's pretty much it. I hope you have an inspiring new moon, and I hope that this phase helps you to get some clarity on where it is that you want to go in the coming year.